Hello Kanna, I hope that you all are fit and fine, and let me tell you that I am completely fine as well. In the past few months, I had been totally dormant, or you can say inactive, on my YouTube channel. I was not uploading content at all. I had made some commitments to all of you, but I was not able to fulfill them in time. And then I was going through my own physical health and mental health struggles. I had met with a road accident, I was recovering from it, then I underwent a surgery, and then I was in bed rest for about 5 to 6 months. And then later on, my professional commitments also piled up so much that it took a lot of effort and challenges to overcome everything. Finally, as on today, I have reached a position where I can't say I have recovered completely, but I am at least stable and I am trying my level best to compensate for my past. Now, in the past few days, I have uploaded many videos on my YouTube channel. You can see that for the May 25 exams, September 25 exams, and January 2026 examinations, I have uploaded the revision lecture of all the chapters other than capital gain and return of income chapter. So all these chapters, I just want you to watch the revision lecture at least one time, and if possible 2 to 3 times, and after watching the revision lecture, please solve all the questions in your institute study material, in the revision test paper and mock test paper. If possible, if you are having time, that is for September 25 and January 26 examinations, please solve the questions of the model exam question paper also, and definitely you will be good to go for your examination. Fine. Then when it comes to capital gain chapter, it is a very crucial chapter, Kana. It is having some amendments which are very important from the examination point of view, and unfortunately or fortunately, you are in the transition provision. Hence, you have to study the provisions before the amendment also, you have to study the provisions after the amendment also, and you have to be very careful in the examination with the dates. That is why I have uploaded the entire capital gain chapter from my CA intermediate power preparation batch, which I had taken in Chennai. The total content is about 4.5 hours. So within 4.5 hours, you will be covering capital gains and also section 56 to 10 in the income from other sources chapter. After seeing the entire 3-part series of capital gain, you will be conceptually thorough with capital gain, and you will be able to solve all the questions which are coming for the examinations. So my request to you is to watch those 3 videos of capital gain also, so that you are clear with the concepts. Okay. Then when it comes to January 2025 exam, students who are writing in May 25, I have also uploaded an amendment lecture which will help you to see what are the changed provisions from the earlier syllabus to the new syllabus which is applicable for May 2025. And also, many students were requesting for a dedicated video on computation of total income. So here I am with the computation of total income video. In this video, I am going to first tell you about the steps to calculate total income and taxes. Then I will tell you what are the types of questions asked in the examination, what are the frequent mistakes made by the students, because of which the students unnecessarily lose marks in the computation of total income question, and finally I am going to work out a computation of total income question in front of you, so that you know what should be the approach and the presentation to solve a computation of total income question. You get my point? Now, before beginning the lecture, my humble request to you is to like this video, to subscribe the channel, Kanna. Please share this video with your friends so that even your friends can take benefit from it, and please fill the comment section with some positive words so that it keeps me motivated to keep on posting content, because for the time being, really I just need your love and your prayers so that I can keep going in life and keep on delivering on my promises and commitments, at least in the coming times. Even when it comes to the CA intermediate power preparation batch, I really wanted to upload that batch entirely free of cost on YouTube, but trust me, I had some issues because of which and commitments also, because of which I am not able to upload it free of cost on YouTube. That is why I have uh, put it on my website, that is edunanban.com, at a very 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 nominal price, which will just help me recover my cost for that particular course. And even if you are not able to afford that particular price, you please message me. I will try to do whatever the best I can for you to support your preparation. Okay, and in future also, whenever I get time, how much ever possible, I will try to upload content for your exam preparation. So please stay subscribed and keep watching the updates and lectures on this channel. Fine. So now let us start with the steps to calculate total income and taxes. So first and foremost, to calculate the total income and also to compute the taxes, you have to know what type of a person the assessee is. That is, whether the assessee is an individual, HUF, partnership firm, AOP, BOI, company, local authority, artificial juridical person, etc. Now, in 99.99% of the examination question, you will get a question where you will be asked to compute the total income of an individual. Hence, in intermediate level, you should be thorough with computation of total income of an individual. Now, while reading the question, you should see whether the individual is a senior citizen, is a super senior citizen, or not a senior citizen. Okay, whether senior citizen, super senior citizen, or not a senior citizen. Then you have to go to the next step, that is residential status. After knowing that it is an individual, then you have to determine whether the individual is a resident, that is resident ordinarily resident, resident not ordinarily resident, or non-resident. Then based on that only, you will know what are the incomes that are taxable for that particular individual. Those incomes you have to divide it in 5 heads of income, namely salary, house property, profit and gains from business or profession, capital gains, and income from other sources. I told you already that while computing total income, or in Income Tax Act, the net income is taxable, gross income is not taxable. Hence, you will take the incomes under different heads, and also there are certain deductions that are allowed in that head of income. Such deduction also you will be reducing while computing the head of income itself. And also, if a income itself is exempt, then such exemption also you will be providing while computing the head of income. After that, if at all clubbing provisions are attracted, then you will do the clubbing adjustment also. Then lastly, you will do the set off and carry forward adjustment also, set off and carry forward of losses. Finally, you will get the gross total income karna, gross total income. From this gross total income, you should further reduce the deductions under chapter 6A. Generally, all the chapter 6A deductions are only provided for the old tax regime. However, for the new tax regime, only 3 deductions are provided: 80 CCD subsection 2, 80 CCH subsection 2, and 80 JJAA. So these 3 deductions, if they are there in the question, you should have to apply for both old tax regime and new tax regime. After applying the deductions, you will get the total income. This is also called net total income or total income. This total income you have to round off to the nearest multiple of 10. After rounding off, then you have to start applying the tax rates. The tax rates, as you know, are of 2 types kanna: normal tax rates and special tax rates. Normal tax rates is for all the different types of incomes other than incomes which are chargeable under special tax rates. Okay, whatever incomes are chargeable under normal tax rates, you have to categorize whether you want to tax them under old tax regime or new tax regime. If the question does not tell you whether old tax regime or new tax regime, then you have to find out both tax regime. Okay, so in normal also there is old tax regime and new tax regime. This new tax regime is also called default tax regime, and old tax regime is also called opting out. So opt out, opting out, or optional tax regime. Fine. And what are the special rates of taxes? There are many types of incomes which are taxable under special rate. For example, 115 BBE, which is taxed at 60% of undisclosed source of income. On the undisclosed source of income, there is section 111A, then 112A, 112 which tax long term capital gain, there is 115BB which tax winnings. Okay, so all such tax rates are also there. After finding out the tax, then if the income is within 5 lakh limit or 7 lakh limit, you have to apply the rebate. If it is more than the surcharge limit, then you have to calculate the surcharge. And then if at all surcharge is there, and if the income is just nearby the surcharge limit, you also have to calculate the marginal relief. After doing all these adjustment, finally add health and education cess at how much percentage? At 4%. So you will get the final tax. Then you also have to see whether alternate minimum tax is applicable for that individual or not. When will it be applicable? Generally it is applicable when the individual is claiming deduction either under 35 AD or claiming deduction under section 10AA or 80 QQB or 80 RRB. So if these deductions are there, then you should know that AMT provisions can also be attracted. When are AMT provision attracted? When the adjusted total income is more than 20 lakh rupees. So that you have to be careful. So if at all AMT provision is attracted, you have to calculate AMT also. If not, then just leave it. Then you will get the final tax. You have to decide which regime should the assessee choose, whether the default tax regime or optional tax regime. Okay, and you also have to reduce the taxes which are paid in advance, that is advance tax, TDS and TCS. Finally you will get tax payable or tax refundable. This tax payable or tax refundable no karna, it should be rounded off to the nearest multiple of 10. Okay, so this was the steps to calculate total income and taxes. Now listen very carefully. In your examination, whenever you are getting a question, you can be asked different types of questions karna. So there can be different expectations of the examiner. First thing, if the examiner asks you to compute gross total income, in such case you only have to calculate till step number 6. You need not reduce the chapter 6A deduction, you need not compute total income, you need not calculate the taxes. In that question, only if you are restricting to gross total income, that is completely enough. If the question is asking you to find gross total income, then if the question asks you to find total income or net total income, in such case you should reduce the chapter 6A deduction also, and then finally find the total income. The total income also you should round off to the nearest multiple of 10. You get my point? Nextly, the question can also ask you to compute tax liability. If the question asks you to compute tax liability, then you have to calculate till step number 13. That is, you need not reduce the advance tax, TDS and TCS, because only the tax liability is asked by the question. They are not asking tax payable or refundable. Finally, the question can also ask you tax refundable or payable or refundable. Only if the question is asking you the tax that is ultimately payable or refundable, in such case you have to find out the tax payable or refundable also, and that also you have to round off to the nearest multiple of 10. You get my point? Hence, be very careful and read the question carefully to know what is the expectation of the question. Sometimes what will happen, only the gross total income will be asked, but the student will calculate till tax payable or refundable, which is not at all required. You will not get extra marks for computing the tax. Hence, what is the requirement of the question? Please stick to the requirement itself. Fine. If the question is asking GTI, then calculate GTI. If the question is asking total income, then calculate total income. If the question is asking tax liability, then only the total tax you have to calculate. If the question is asking tax payable or refundable, in such case only you have to calculate till the end to know what is the tax payable or refundable. Okay. So that is one point. Now, there are two different type of questions karna. Total income questions can be of two types: direct question and indirect question. Direct question and indirect question. In direct question, what type of total income is asked? In direct question, they generally give the points directly. That means what? Different paragraphs or points will be given, and in that it will be given that the different details of incomes and expenditure. So based on the income and expenditure, you should know on in which head of income such income is taxable and what are the expenditure allowed in that head of income. You have to do the adjustment and find out the computation of total income. You get my point? Then you can also be asked receipts and payments, also be given receipts and payments account. Receipts and payment account. This is also direct method where directly a receipt and payment account is given. It means what? Whatever amount or money has come into the business, whatever money has gone out of the business, whether it be cash book or bank book, it will be given in the question. So based on all the items, you have to compute the total income. So whatever money is coming in, most probably it will be income. Whatever money is going out, most probably it will be expenses. So you have to take all the incomes into account under different heads of income, reduce the deductions, you will get the total income, and then you find out the tax. Fine. So direct method is this. Either you will be getting direct question or receipts and payment account. So that is the direct method. Now there is another method called indirect method, where either you will get the income and expenditure account or you will get the profit and loss account. Either income and expenditure or profit and loss account. Why is this method called indirect method, sir? Because here you will get the income or net profit. Net profit as per the income and expenditure account or profit and loss account. With this net profit or income, you have to do reverse calculation. You have to do reverse calculation to find out the PGBP income. You have to do reverse calculation to find out PGBP income. So for example, in my PGBP lecture, if you see, I would have already explained this indirect method. Fine. So in your profit and loss account, if at all there is a deduction, okay, let's say this deduction is there in the profit and loss account, because of which the NP is reduced. Now if you say that deduction is not allowed, then what will happen? You have to increase the net profit. You have to increase the net profit. Similarly, if there is an income which is because of which the net profit is coming, and let's say this income is not an income as per the Income Tax Act. If it is not an income, then what you have to do? You have to reduce that income from the net profit. So like this, you have to do the adjustment to arrive at the correct profit and gains from business or profession. If at all there is an item in the deduction, okay, which is also there, which is also allowed in the income tax, then what you have to do? Should you reduce it? No, you should ignore such deduction. So if there is a deduction which is there in the profit and loss account and also allowed under income tax, then you should ignore such deduction in the indirect method. You should not take it into account at all. So indirect method only I will be solving in this video, so you will get even more clarity. Because direct method, I feel that if you see the study material and if you see the question answers which are solved, you will easily be able to understand. But indirect method only, you need approach. This approach that I am going to teach you, you can apply for the direct method also. You will easily be able to score without doing any mistakes in the examination. Fine. Now let us see what are the common mistakes while solving total income question. After that, let us solve the question. So first common mistake is students are not presenting in proper format. Sir, is there any format for computation of total income question? Answer is no. There is no format karna. Then why have you written proper format? It is because I want you to write the heading properly. Whatever is asked in the question, based on that, please write the heading correctly. For example, the question is asking you to compute the total income of Mrs. Lakshmi. So you should write the heading properly. Computation of total income of Mrs. Lakshmi for the assessment year 25-26. This heading should be there. So heading is a must. Then whatever columns you are making, okay, please make sure to name those columns. So people, what they will do, they will just draw 3 columns and they will not name it anything. But it is necessary to name the columns as particulars. Then if the amount is in rupees, then please put amount rupees. amount rupees. And if you want a separate column for marking where what are all the working notes which you have taken, then you can draw a separate column where you can put working note number 1, 2, 3, whatever the working notes are there. So this presentation should finally be there, and final answer whatever you are getting, no, final answer, this final answer please put a box around it so that it is highlighted in front of the examiner that this is the answer according to you. Okay. Next, don't forget to round off the total income and tax payable. So you should definitely round off total income and tax to the nearest multiple of 10. Next, don't forget to give explanation for items excluded or ignored from the question. If in the question there is some adjustment which is given in the question and you are going to ignore the adjustment because it is not relevant, still you have to give an explanation in your answer that this adjustment is not relevant for my answer. Okay, while solving the question we will see that also. Next, if an adjustment for an item comes at 2 or more places, then don't forget to give the effect to all of them. For example, professional tax paid by employer. So if professional tax is paid by employer, you have to add it in salary also, you have to reduce in deduction also. If there is saving bank interest, then you have to add it in income from other sources also, you have to take in deduction also, ATTTA. Then employer contribution. So similarly, if there is any adjustment which is required in 2 or more places, do it simultaneously then and there itself. Fine. Next, make assumptions wherever required. So wherever if you feel the question is not clear, there you make an assumption. Next, sometimes the question has hidden items. You have to identify those hidden items. For example, while calculating salary income and house property income, the students make silly mistake of not reducing standard deduction, which is very, very common. Next, presumptive income. If presumptive income is applicable in PGBP, then you have to calculate presumptive income also, and you have to advise the assessee whether to take normal scheme or presumptive scheme. Presumptive income means what, Kanna? It is 44 AD, 44 ADA and 44 AE. Next, if the company does not tell, if the question does not still if there is AMT calculation, you have to calculate AMT. Next, even if the question does not tell, if you feel there can be marginal relief, you have to calculate marginal relief. Then sometimes in the if you get receipts and payments account, Kanna, receipts and payments account, you might get in the receipt account an item as dividend. It might be written as 45,000. It means what? Dividend received is 45,000. So does it mean that dividend income is also 45,000? Answer is no. Why? Because while receiving, the company will deduct TDS and then only make the payment of dividend. So whatever dividend you are getting will be net of TDS. Hence you have to gross up. How to gross up? If 45,000 is received, if this represents only 90%, then how much is 100%? So 100% will be 50,000. So your dividend income is 50,000 and TDS on dividend is how much? 5,000. So you have to make the adjustment accordingly. Okay, wow. Next, comparison with section 115 BAC. So wherever it is not given in question, you yourself have to compare between old tax regime and new tax regime. Then check if assessee is a senior citizen or super senior citizen. So this is also one silly mistake. While calculating the tax, you have to consider whether the assessee is senior citizen or not, and based on that only you have to calculate the tax. Next, give the correct effect of residential status. Sometimes if the assessee is a non-resident, mostly in your examination the assessee will be resident, ordinarily resident, but still if the assessee is non-resident, then you have to treat accordingly. Next, correctly deduct the TDS, TCS and advance tax before calculating the final tax payable and refundable. So this step you should not miss. Finally, if at all there is a rebate calculation, you have to calculate rebate also. And if at all there is agriculture income and non-agriculture income both, then you have to do the partial integration procedure also. So these are the common mistakes that are made by students and points to remember. Now let us come to computation of total income and let us solve one question. Let us solve one question. Let us solve this question number 4 in your study material. So this is the only question in your study material, I guess, where the indirect method is asked. I want to solve indirect method for you, because if this you are able to understand, then direct method will become very easy. Now listen here very carefully. Whenever you get a total income question in the examiner, this is what I want you to do. First and foremost, go to the end of the total income question and see what is asked in the question. So now itself you should know. First itself you should know what is the approach. So always read the last line first. So what is the last line? Compute the total income and tax payable by Miss Purvi for assessment year 25-26 in the most beneficial manner. Listen. So total income is asked, tax payable is asked. So till last step you have to calculate that you got in a most beneficial manner. It means what? You have to find out old regime also, you have to find out new regime tax also, and you have to compare both and tell Miss Purvi what is the most beneficial answer. So now we know what is the expectation from the question. Fine. Now let us start reading the question. So first and foremost, you have to read the last line and then you please skim the question. Skimming the question means what, sir? Skimming. S-K-I-M. Skim the question means read the question quickly. No need to read in detail. Just glance the question to see what are the different adjustment asked and what are the heads of income asked in the question. So by reading the question, you should know what are the different types of heads of income asked in the question. Okay. So Miss Purvi, aged 55 years, is a chartered accountant in practice. So now you know that for an individual, you need to find the total income. Her age is 55 years. It means what? That she is not a senior citizen. Then she is a chartered accountant. It means what? She is a professional as per 44AA. So 44AA might be attracted, 44ADA might be attracted, and then she maintains her account on cash basis. So you have to know what is cash basis. Cash basis means payment basis of accounting, not accrual system. Her income and expenditure account for the year ended 31st March is reading as follows. Salary to staff is there, stipend is there, incentive to article assistant is there, office rent is there, printing and stationery, meeting, seminar and conference fee, purchase of car, repair and maintenance, petrol, then travelling expenses, municipal tax paid in respect of house property, net profit is given. Then quickly you should see fees earned is given, audit fees, tax fees, consultancy fee, then dividend is received, income from UTI is there, honorarium is received, rent is received. Then there are few adjustments where they have talked about depreciation, then value of some benefits, then incentive to chartered accountant, there is some adjustment, then repair and maintenance also there is some adjustment, then salary includes 30,000 to computer specialist in cash, so that is also an adjustment, travelling expense related some adjustment is there, medical insurance premium is given, which means what? It can be, there can be some deduction also here. Then investment in NSE is given, so this also is about deduction chapter. Then 70,000 advance tax is given, so taxes which is paid in advance. Now we have skimmed the question once. Quickly you have seen the question. Now by seeing the question, you should get an idea of what are the different types of heads of income asked. Number one, easily you can tell that there is PGBP head of income, that is business or profession, that is definitely there. Then what is the other head of income? Rent received is there, and it is a residential flat that is let out, hence it is a house property head of income will also be involved. And listen karna, if at all you are getting a question in your examination where rent received is given, okay, rent received is given, unless it is given that the rent is received because of some commercial property which is the business of the SSE. If it is given in the question that it is commercial property and business of the SSE, only then you take it in business income. Else if nothing is given in question, you just take rent received under house property head of income. Okay va? Next. Then there is dividend income also, which means what? There is income from other sources. But I did not find anything related to salary received and also anything related to capital gain. So those two heads of income are not covered in this particular question. So now I know that there are three heads of income: house property, PGBP, and income from other sources. They have also talked about deductions, and also they are asking us to calculate what are the tax payable or refundable. So now with this information, let us start solving the question. So first what you should do, firstly you should put a heading: computation of total income and tax payable of Miss Purvi for the assessment year 2025-2026. So we have written the heading. Now let us draw the columns. Now listen here, Kana. There are 2 or 3 different types of approach that you can take to solve the question. First approach is that both old regime as well as new regime you can solve by putting old regime and new regime in different columns. For example, you can have one column for old regime, one more column for new regime. That is also okay, not a problem at all. But my suggestion is that already, since there is some space constraint, you will need at least 2 columns. So it is better to solve it only under one regime and then do the adjustment to get the other regime. And my recommendation is always follow the default tax regime first. Default tax regime. So compute the income and tax payable under the default tax regime. And then finally, if you want to find the old regime also, then just see what are the adjustment which will make the difference between default tax regime and old tax regime. Do those adjustment and then arrive at the old tax regime income and taxes also. You get my point? So that adjustment you can do. So now what am I doing? I am just drawing columns for the default tax regime. Hence you also have to include it in the heading. Okay, very important. So now computation of total income and tax payable of Miss Purvi for the assessment year 25-26 under the default tax regime. So you have to write here default tax regime under section 115 BAC. And you underline this also. Fine. Now you have to name the columns. So first column is what, Kanna? Particulars. Second column, amount rupees. Third column is also amount rupees. Always better to have 2 columns, inner column and outer column, so that the final amount alone you write in the outer column. It is very easily visible to the examiner, so that he can easily put you the marks for that particular steps. Okay. So now first and foremost, what is the head of income that you are going to take? It is income from house property. Income from house property. Now what I want you to do is listen. Just a second. Okay, I'll just draw a long column. Okay. So whenever you are solving this question in the examination, there are different approach that you can take. I already told you. First, what did I tell you? Either you can solve the old regime and new regime together or separately. My recommendation is to please solve separately, and first you solve new regime, then you solve old regime. Okay, wow. Then there is also one more thing. Sir, when we are solving the different heads of income, some students what they will prefer, writing income from house property first, then PGBP, then what? Income from other sources, then find the GTI, gross total income, then minus 6A deduction, and then total income, and for tax payable also here itself, and here they would like to have a separate column where they mention working note. So PGBP will be house property will be working note number 1, PGBP will be working note number 2, number 3, number 4, and vice versa. So like this and etc. So like this you can do, where the entire total income first itself you are solving, you are just writing the final figure in the top, and then what are all the different heads of income that you are solving separately as a working note. That is also possible, but my personal recommendation is, why to complicate things? Just solve the question then and there itself, within that same head of income you solve. So I am going to solve it directly. Okay, now listen. Income from house property. So income from house property, you can leave some space. You know that there is house property income. You can leave some space and then put the heading as income from business or profession. Profit and gains from business or profession. Since this is the indirect method, majority of the adjustments are dealing with profit and gains of business or profession. Hence, PGBP head of income alone, I want you to write first itself. And make the necessary space, so that as and when you are reading the question, you can do the adjustments one by one. Okay. So when you write this, what first what you will write? First you write the net profit. What is the net profit? 928,224. 928,224. Then you write add. You have to add. What should you add? Number 1, expenses disallowed. And incomes taxable under this head. So whatever is not there in the net profit, but they are incomes which are taxable under PGBP, that you should add, no? Okay. Then you leave sufficient space. Okay, even if you are leaving extra space, not a problem at all. Write your favorite word, that is PTO, in the answer sheet, and then move on. Okay, so leave sufficient space and then write less. So I will leave this much space, like even more space I can leave, not a problem. Less expenses allowed or incomes not taxable under this head. Expenses allowed or incomes not taxable under this head. So you wrote this. Now let us start solving the question. Okay, and now just see practically how I am solving the question. So first I will go to the question Kanna, and then I will start seeing all the line items one by one in order. So firstly, what is a line item? Salary to staff. So salary to staff is 15,50,000. Should I do anything for salary to staff? Answer is no. It is allowed as a deduction in profit and loss account. Salary is a valid business expenditure which is also allowed under PGBP. Hence, I need not do anything. But sir, there is an adjustment in salary also. That we will see when the adjustment comes. Okay, wow. But hypothetical, for the time being, salary is fully allowed. Hence, you need not do anything. It is already considered while calculating the net profit. So just leave it. Next, stipend to article assistant 1,37,000. So stipend to article assistant is given. It is also an allowed business expenditure. So that also need not do anything. Next, incentive to article assistant is also an allowable business expenditure. It is given for the purpose of business only or profession only. Hence, it is allowed as deduction. Just leave it. Office rent, is office rent allowed as deduction? Answer is yes. So ignore office rent also. Next, printing and stationery, is it allowed as deduction? Answer is yes. So you can ignore printing stationery also. Then meeting and seminar and conference fees, this is also related to profession, hence allowed as deduction. You leave this also. Next, purchase of car for official use. Now, is car allowed as deduction? Answer is no, Kanna. Car is not allowed as deduction. Only depreciation on car is allowed as deduction. Hence, now this is the first adjustment that you have to do. So what you have to do, car, it is allowed as deduction, but it should not be allowed. Hence, whatever expenses are disallowed, that you have to add back. Hence, purchase of car is how much? 80,000. 80,000. Now, listen very carefully. Now itself, you know that depreciation on car should be allowed as deduction. Such depreciation is not there in the profit and loss account. Hence, now itself you write it that depreciation should be provided so that you do not forget. Later on, if you forget and then you miss it out, completely the answer will get wrong. So now itself you write here depreciation under section 32. Now listen, Karna. On car depreciation is there. Fine. However, now on there can be some other assets also where depreciation might be there, and such other assets might be clubbed together to form a single block, and on that block you will have to calculate the depreciation. Now, while skimming through this question, we did not find any other asset mentioned. Hence, now itself I know that I can calculate the depreciation for the car. So that calculation can be done now itself, or if you are not sure, then at least you have mentioned depreciation under section 32. Here you just write car. Okay, so that you remember that on car you have to provide depreciation in this question, and then you leave it. No problem. So in later on you will remember that you want to provide depreciation. Okay. So I have just written car here under depreciation. So I know that I have to provide depreciation on car. Now let's see the next item. Repair, maintenance and petrol of car. Is it allowed as deduction? Answer is yes, it is allowed as deduction. Next, is traveling expense allowed as deduction? Answer is yes, if it is related to business, it is allowed as deduction. Next, is municipal tax paid for house property allowed as deduction? Answer is no. Municipal tax paid is allowed under house property chapter. It is not allowed under PGBP chapter. Hence, in PGBP head of income, you have to add back municipal taxes. So here you write what? Municipal taxes. How much? 3,000. Now listen very carefully. Municipal tax also you have to make an adjustment to in two places. In PGBP, that is profit and gains of business or profession, it will be disallowed, and it will be allowed under house property chapter. Correct? So under house property chapter, first you have to find out GAV. So please leave some space and write here GAV, that is gross annual value, and then here you can write reduce municipal taxes. How much? 3,000. And since you want to reduce it, you have to put it in brackets. Okay. Next, if you put in bracket, you will easily remember that you want to subtract such item. Okay. Next, net profit is given. Now let us come to the right side. So in right side, first what is given? Fees earned from audit, 27 lakhs. Fees earned from taxation, fees earned from consultancy. So all these three types of fees is included in profession income. It is already included in net profit, so you need not do anything. But if you see here, the revenue is how much? Gross receipts is how much? It is 55 lakhs 98,000. What does this tell you? This tells you that the assessee cannot take the benefit of section 44 ADA. So 44 ADA is not applicable. If you want, you can also write this as a note in your answer sheet at the very end, that since the gross receipts in the profession is more than 50 lakh rupees, hence section 44 ADA presumptive income will not be applicable. However, if the total cash receipts is within 5% of the total receipts, the limit will be increased to 75 lakhs. In such case, the assessee will be able to take the presumptive income section. Okay. So this also, if you want, you can include it in your answer. Nothing wrong. Next, dividend income. So dividend income on X Limited, on shares of X Limited, an Indian company, and gross amount is given as 10,524. Now listen. Dividend income is not taxable under profit and gains of business or profession. It is taxable under which head of income? It is taxable under income from other sources. Hence what you should do? Income not taxable, you have to reduce. So for this car depreciation, let us leave some space and then write dividend income. Dividend income. How much kana? 10,524. 10524. Now listen very carefully. Very important. This dividend income is there, no? You have to reduce in PGBP income, and also you have to add back in income from other sources. You have to add in income from other sources. So you can do two things. Please don't leave the adjustment here itself and wait till you are solving income from other sources to add it. You are going to forget it. Okay, because you will be stressed out in the examination. That is why, if at all an adjustment is required in two or more places, do that adjustment then and there itself. So you can either leave some space, then put the heading as income from other sources. Income from other sources, and there you can write dividend income. Dividend income is how much? 10524. So here you have to reduce. So put it in bracket. There you have to add it. 10524. You get my point? But sir, I don't know how much space to leave, and I don't want to leave too much space also. Hence, I just want to calculate the PGBP income first, and then later on I will calculate income from other sources. That is also fine. But in such case, what you should do is take the rough page. Sir, which is the rough page, sir? Rough page is the last page of your answer book. You just put the heading as rough page, and there whatever adjustment you are doing, try to do it in the pencil so that it does not form part of your answer sheet. Okay, just put the heading as rough work, and there whatever scribbling you want to do, whatever calculations you want to do, you can do it on the rough page. You get my point? So take your rough page in your answer booklet, and there you please write income from other sources. In keywords you can write in small, you need not write fully, but you have to remember the point, no? Because when you go to income from other sources, if you forget the point, then you will lose the marks. Since you want to remember the point, so first you write in dividend income here, then please write IFOS dividend income is equal to 10524. Now you will remember that while writing income from other sources, you have to add it in income from other sources. Okay, so either you put it here directly, income from other sources, or if you don't want to do the working now, you want to write income from other sources later on, then please write it in your rough page so that you remember. Okay, And one more thing, in dividend there are not 2 adjustments, there are 3 adjustments. Why? Because dividend income is more than 5,000 rupees. If dividend income is more than 5,000 rupees, then TDS has to be deducted at 10%. Correct? TDS has to be deducted at 10%. And the question is asking you to find out the final tax payable or refundable. That is why definitely this TDS adjustment will also be there. Hence, in your rough page, please write TDS on dividend is equal to 10524 or 1052. You can just write it, you can just scribble and keep it so that you remember. No need to write it neatly and all. Okay. So now I will remember while tax calculation that I have to consider this dividend. You get my point? Now listen. Let us come back to the question. So we have seen this dividend. Now next one is income from UTI. Income from UTI is also not the profession of a chartered accountant. Hence, income from UTI will be taxable under income from other sources. So please write here income from UTI 7,600, and in income from other sources, then itself you have to write. Please don't wait. That's why again and again I am telling, do the adjustment then and there itself. Please don't wait for the adjustment. Income from UTI 7,600, and income from UTI also is more than 5,000 rupees. Since it is more than 5,000, TDS would be deducted at 10%. So that also please write it in your rough work. On UTI income 7,600 into 10%. Now I will remember this while doing tax calculation. Okay. Next one, honorarium received for various institutions for valuation of answer paper. Is valuation of answer paper the profession of the assessee? Answer is no. Hence, it will be taxable under income from other sources. So 15,800 should be taxable under IFOS. Honorarium for paper valuation. So here you have to reduce how much? 15,800. Then paper valuation 15,800. Oh, sorry, not in brackets. Okay, so this is done. On honorarium, will TDS would have been deducted? Answer is no, because even if TDS is deducted, it would have been deducted under 194J. Mostly on this TDS will not come. So hence here TDS adjustment is not there. Next, rent received 85,600. Is rent received taxable under PGBP? Answer is no. It is taxable under income from house property. So what you have to do? Adjustment in 2 places. First you come to profit and gains from business or profession and write here rent received. It is how much? 85,600. Then you go to income from house property and then there you write rent received 85,600. Okay. In rent received, will TDS come? Answer is yes. If the rent received is more than 2,40,000, then TDS would have been deducted. But since it is not more than 240, TDS would not have been deducted. So here TDS adjustment will not be there. Now let's come to other information. So see here, allowable rate of depreciation on motor car is how much? 15%. So here you can put depreciation of car is equal to 80,000 multiplied by 15%. But listen Kanna, The depreciation rate, as you know, is 15%, but you do not know whether this car was put to use for more than 180 days, 180 days or more, or less than 180 days. Hence, you have to put an assumption, very, very important. That is why we will put an assumption. Car was put to use for more than 180 days. Okay. Next, this calculation we'll do at the end, not a problem. First, let us do all the adjustments. Next, value of benefits received from clients during the course of profession is 10,500. So these are what? A gift received in the course of profession. It is taxable under PGBP. It is not given in the profit and loss account. Hence, separately you have to tax it. So add it to the net profit. Benefits and what is it? Benefits and benefits received from clients. So benefits from clients. How much? 10,500. So please write 10,500. Okay. Next, incentive to articled assistant represent amount paid to two articled assistant for passing CA intermediate examination at first attempt. So what has this person given? Incentive to article assistant for passing, so that the article, because the articles have passed in the first attempt. This is totally fine. It is an amount given to article assistants for motivating the article assistant to work even better, and it is given in the course of profession only, so not a problem. So should you do any adjustment? Answer is no, not required to do any adjustment. But since, listen here, since it is given in the adjustments, that is why it is always safe to mention it in the answer, so that at least if there is mark for this particular explanation, you will not lose the marks. So you can go to this disallowance and write note. Incentive, or you can just write here incentive to articled assistant. So you can write here nil, just write here nil, and here you can write note. Incentive given is in the course of profession and allowed as deduction. Under section 37. Under section 37. If you don't remember the section, no problem karna. Don't mention. Next, repair and maintenance of car includes 2000 rupees for the period from 1/10/2024 to 30/9/2025. So repair and maintenance is how much? 4,000 rupees. Out of this 4,000, 2,000 is for the period 1/10/2024 to 30/9/2025. Okay. So what is the previous year? 24/25. 24/25. Hence, some expenses are going beyond the period also. Only till 31/3/2025 the expenses should have been allowed, but other expense should not have been allowed. Correct? Answer is not correct. Why? Because Miss Purvi is following cash system of accounting. In cash system of accounting, whatever expenses are there, it is allowed as deduction on payment basis. Hence, there will not be any disallowance since cash system of accounting is followed. So that is why you come here and you write repair and maintenance. And just put here dash. Then please write note. since the assessee is following the cash system of accounting is fully allowed on payment basis. Fully allowed on payment basis. Okay. Next adjustment. So this we have covered, this we have covered, this one also we have covered, this one also we have covered. Next, salary includes 30,000 to a computer specialist in cash for assisting Miss Purvi in one professional assignment. So 30,000 salary is given in cash to a computer specialist. Is it allowed? Answer is no, it is not allowed. Hence, please write here. Salary in cash to a person in a day exceeding rupees 10,000 through other than prescribed modes is not allowed as deduction. Sir, is it necessary that you have to write the wordings in the same format? Answer is no. I am drafting my own sentences. You also draft your own sentences. As long as your provision is correct, as long as your meaning is clear to the examiner, you will get the marks. Don't worry. Under section 40A3. So here also if you are not writing section, not a problem. So 30,000 rupees is disallowed. So it has to be added back. So please put 30,000. So this adjustment is also over. Next, traveling expense includes expenditure incurred on a foreign tour of 32,000 which was within RBI norms. So 32,000 was on foreign tour. So can Miss Purvi in the course of her profession go on a foreign tour? Answer is yes. It is very much possible that she has went for profession only. So let us assume expense on foreign tour. Let us not disallow anything and let us put an assumption. Foreign tour was for the purpose of profession. Okay. So we are not disallowing anything. This is also over. Next, medical insurance premium on the health of dependent brother and major son dependent on her amounts to 5,000 and 10,000. Now listen here. Medical insurance premium is paid in cash. If it is paid in cash, is it allowed as deduction? Answer is no. Since medical insurance premium is paid in cash, it will not be allowed as deduction. So that also you have to write. But since you have not reached the deductions part yet, so what you are going to do? You are going to note it in rough page. Deduction. Just put it in keyword. Mediclaim. Not allowed. Cash. So like this you can write. Okay. Next. Just a second. Okay. Listen. Next. She invested 10,000 in NSC. Is 10,000 NSC allowed as deduction? Answer is yes. It is allowed as deduction. NSC, ATC, 10,000. Moreover, since you are finding default tax regime, it will not be allowed as deduction under default tax regime. It will be allowed only in the old tax regime. So however, you cannot write it here. So now compute the total income and tax payable. So we have finished all the all the adjustments karna. Now we just have to do the calculation. Okay. So firstly, let us do the calculation for income from house property. What is the GAV? GAV is also 85,600. Then what is NAV? NAV will come to 82,600. Then minus section 24A standard deduction at 30%. How much? 82,600 into 30%. So 24,780. This will have to be reduced minus. So income from house property is how much? 57,820. So one head of income is over. Now let's come to PGBP. In PGBP, what and all you should add? All the additions let us add together. 80,000, 3,000, 10,500, then 30,000 is coming to how much? 123500. So here you can write 123500. Then all the expenses allowed, you are going to write it here. Here first and foremost, depreciation calculation is still pending. So please find out into 15%. How much? 12,000. So 12,000 you have to reduce. So what is the total reduction? 12,000, 10524, 7,600, 15,800, 85,600, 131,524. Now final income from PGBP, you can write it in the outer column. Income from profits and gains, or even if you are not writing here, just if you write in the outer column, just you put here income. So how much? First you take the net profit 928,224 plus 123500 minus 131,524, which is 920,200. Now let's come to income from other sources. So what are the three incomes? 10,524, 7,600, 15,800. Total is how much? 33,924. So now you can just put the total, gross total income. Gross total income is how much? 33,924, 920,200, and then 57,820, 10,11,944. From this you have to reduce chapter 6A deduction. See Gana, in 115 BAC no chapter 6A deductions are there, but still you please write it so that at least the examiner knows that you are conveying him that the deductions are not allowed in the new tax regime. Then please write total income and rounded off. Total income should be rounded off. So how much? 10,11,940. Now you are computing tax payable, correct? Tax liability, not tax payable, tax liability under section 115 BAC. So up to 3 lakhs nil, then up to 7 lakhs, which is what? 4 lakhs at 5%. How much? 20,000. then up to 10 lakhs, which is 3 lakhs at 10%, 30,000, then up to 11940, 10 lakh 11940. So 11940 multiplied by 15%, 1791. So the total tax liability is coming to 51791. Then you add health and education cess, at 4%. How much? 2072. So now you will get the tax liability. $53,863. 53,863. Now you have to reduce less because you have to find the tax payable, correct? So reduce advance tax. Advance tax is how much given in the question? Advance tax you have already seen, 70,000. 70,000. Then reduce TDS. In TDS also there are two TDS, you have already noted it in your rough worksheet. TDS dividend is 10524 into 10%. Dividend 10524 into 10%, which is 1052, and then UTI 7600 into 10%, which is 760. You have to reduce. So what will you get? 53,863 minus 70,000 minus 1052 minus 760 is equal to 19749. So 17949. So please write rounded off, and since it is coming as a negative figure, it is tax refundable. So tax refundable is how much? 17950. Tax refundable is 17950. So this you should put a box because this is the final answer which is demanded by the question. So please put a box around it so that the examiner knows that you have found out the answer. Now the question also asks you which is the most beneficial answer. Hence you have to compare it with the old tax regime also. So now you please write the heading: computation of total income and tax payable of, what is the name of the assessee? Miss Purvi. Miss Purvi for assessment year 25-26 under the old tax regime, and please put a underline. Then as usual draw 3 columns: particulars, amount rupees, amount rupees. Okay. Now firstly you will do the reverse working as I already told you. So total income as per default tax regime is how much? 1011944. 1011944. So what and all you have to now do. Then in all the other heads of income, I don't think there are any other adjustments. If at all there are some adjustments which are there to be done in the old tax regime, please note down those adjustments in the rough sheet, so that when you are doing this calculation, you can refer your rough sheet and then you can do the calculation easily. You do not forget anything. Purida. So now what are already the adjustments that we have written? We have written the adjustment of deduction of NSC. So please write here, less deductions under chapter 6A. First, 80D medical insurance. Please write here nil and then write note. It is not allowed since payment is made in cash. Okay. Moreover, this medical insurance premium it was paid for brother also. So in respect of brother, it is however not allowed. It is only allowed for spouse, children and parents, not allowed for brothers and sisters. Moreover, for son, will it be allowed? Generally it is allowed, but since the payment is in cash, it will not be allowed as deduction. Then 80C, investment in National Savings Certificate. How much? 10,000. So now you will get total income rounded off. How much? 1011944 minus 10,000 equal to 1001944. So you round off to 1001940. Okay, 940. Now also one more point I forgot to tell you. Here you are putting TDS calculation. 10524 multiplied by 10%, 7600 multiplied by 10%. Sir, is it necessary to show this calculation? Answer is yes, it is necessary to show this calculation because workings also carry marks. Now find out tax liability. Up to 2,50,000 it is nil. Then up to 5 lakhs it is 2,50,000 multiplied by 5%, which is 12,500. Then up to 10 lakhs, 5 lakhs multiplied by 20%, which comes to 1 lakh. Then up to 1001940, it is 1940 into 30%, which is how much? 582. Total coming to 113,082. Then add health and education cess at 4%. 4523. So total you will get how much? Plus 117,605. 117,605. So this tax liability you can put in outer column. Then now you have to find out tax payable. So less advance tax 70,000. Then TDS on dividend. Sir, one time already I did calculation. Should I do another time? No, Kanna. Since you have already done, no need to do it once again. If you want, you can do it also. No problem. If you do, there is no harm. If you don't do also, there is no harm. 760. So minus 70,000 minus 1052 minus 760 equal to 45793. So if you round it off, you are getting tax payable. Since it's a positive amount, tax payable is 45793. This also you have to put a box, because this is also an answer as per your question. Correct? It's the final answer. Now you put conclusion. It would be beneficial for Miss Purvi to opt for the default tax regime under section 115 BAC, since the tax liability is lower. And also please underline, or you can put a box, so that the examiner sees this final answer also. Make sure to put a box around the final answer so that it is clearly visible to the examiner. So this is how you have to present a total income question in the examination. If you want to note down the answer, slowly I am scrolling, okay, so you can pause and note it down if at all you want to note down. Okay. So I hope you are clear. This is the approach you should take while solving the total income question under the indirect method. One thing only I wanted to stress about while preparing the answer is that whenever you are having an adjustment which is coming at more than one place, that is 2 or more places, in such case do the adjustment then and there itself. If you don't want to do the adjustment then and there, please note it in the rough sheet that you want to do the adjustment later on, so that while doing it the second time you will not forget it. All these adjustments like TDS for dividend income which is taxable under income from other sources but not taxable under PGBP, and all such adjustments. So like this, easily you will be able to solve the total income question and you will not make any silly mistakes while solving the question. If you are not been able to answer because you do not know the provision, that is a different thing. But in spite of knowing the provision, if you are calculating the answer wrongly and doing mistake in the examination, then the entire effort that you put to study all those provision will totally go waste. There will not be any use when it comes to CA intermediate point of view. Okay, so along with preparation, you also do the practice and also be sure about the presentation, so that in the examination everything is going to be perfect. You don't worry at all, Kanna. You are going to score a lot of marks in the taxation. Don't make silly mistakes. You will score a high marks and exemption for sure. I wish you all the best of luck for your examination. So see you in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.